Hi, I'm here with Pastors Rob Matney, William Crelia, and Kevin Yazzie. Rob and William are pastors in Arkansas, and Kevin pastors a church on the reservation in Nashiti, New Mexico. We want to take a moment to talk to you about two different ministries that we're involved with. Those two are Builders for Christ and NAME. Why don't you guys take a moment? I'm going to have you go down the line and introduce yourself and tell us where you pastor and a little bit of maybe what the ministries that you're involved with.
My name's Rob Matney. I pastor at Cornerstone Baptist Church in Gentry, Arkansas, up in the northwest part of the state. I've been involved with NAME, or Builders for Christ, for about 22 years. A man by the name of Steve Osage, which I'll tell you more about in a minute, got me involved on a trip up to South Dakota, and since then, he was like Nehemiah. He got me involved with, about 26 different churches we've either spoke at or worked at. Been a blessing to be a part of this.
Kevin?
Hello, my name is Kevin Yazzie, Pastor Kevin Yazzie. I'm a pastor out here in the Navajo Reservation, Nashiti, New Mexico. And about 15 years, at least about 15 years, we've worked with Builders for Christ, and move on to with NAME as well. And started in 2012 or 11, around that time. And it's been very successful.
My name is William Crelia. I am pastor at Winfield Baptist Church and administrative team lead at Buckner Baptist Association. And I became involved with Builders for Christ through Steve Osage in 2009, working on the Cherokee Family Camp there. That's where I met Steve, and I got connected through our association at the time. And then we've worked on multiple projects with Steve and Vernon Crow. Met Vernon Crow through Steve as well. And a lot of the construction projects, Steve would kind of call us and get the team together, and then Vernon would head up the project and put it all together. And so that's how I got involved.
So we're talking about getting involved. So let's go a little bit more into that. So we'll start again with Rob here. Tell us a little bit more. You said it was Steve that originally kind of got you introduced to this.
Yeah, 22 years ago, I was brand new in the ministry, wasn't sure what God was calling me to do. And there was 3 girls that came and visited our church in Gravette, Arkansas. And it was kind of intriguing. They were from South Dakota. They were down for the summer. And we didn't get to know them real well, but something about them intrigued me. So I found out how they got involved coming down to Arkansas, and I was given the name Steve Osage. I reached out to Steve and said I was interested in going up to South Dakota. Well, come to find out, a couple of weeks later, he was wanting to go, and he didn't have a very reliable vehicle, and I just happened to have bought a brand new Dodge Ram. I said, well, I'll drive. All the way up there, I'm wondering, why am I going? What am I going to do? And that trip to South Dakota changed my life. Everything I've done personally and as a pastor changed on that trip. And I won't go into all the stories, but there were 2 testimonies of that week while I was there, about a family that lost a child in a house fire, a lady that was raising her grandchildren because their mother was dead and dad was in prison. Those impacted me. In the last 22 years, started off coming up on mission trips doing construction in South Dakota. Over time, Steve's wife Rita died, and she had started a shoebox ministry, modeling it after Operation Christmas Child. Well, when she passed away, we picked up that ministry, and for the last several years, we have delivered shoeboxes to South Dakota. In the last couple of years, we're able to provide some here to New Mexico, hoping that will continue to grow, because some of these kids, that's all they get for Christmas. And we've been very blessed. A couple of the locations now, we're able to actually deliver them to the schools, and kids get Christmas presents. We get to hand them to some. They get to hear about Christ's love through shoeboxes. Our ministry through NAME, which is Native American Missions and Evangelism, really is more than just the builders. The Builders for Christ side of it has been a lot of construction. We have built some brand new churches from ground up. We've done a lot of remodeling. We've done a lot of repairs, a lot of upgrades. And that's part of it. But like this week, you can tell we're dressed kind of casually because we're here in New Mexico on a mission trip. And each day, and this is kind of the prototype, we get up in the morning, we start work. At 10 o'clock this morning, we had a vacation Bible school. Ladies from our church and ladies from the local church. Some of the men get involved. We have vacation Bible school. We work projects through the afternoon. And in the evening, we come back together. This evening, we'll come back at 6 o'clock. Will preached last night a beautiful message. We'll have a revival every evening. So over the years, we have done construction. We've got a team up in South Dakota right now doing nothing but doing a vacation Bible school and revival. But we will go to churches, primarily Native American churches, which is our passion. Billy Graham made a comment 25 years ago that he thought the next great revival in America would come off the Native Americans. They were the original Americans, and he thought they would be the spiritual leaders of the next great revival. And I think there's a lot of truth behind that statement. Our job is not to come here and tell Pastor Kevin what to do. He's smarter than Will or I, either one. But our job is to come here and help him, encourage him, so he never feels like he's on an island, that he knows he's got a team that's praying for him, helping him, loving him. He has the most loving church I have ever visited, any church I've ever worked on. Him and his family, his people in this church are wonderful. And I think we're honored to get to come here and encourage them. We've, over the years, I don't know that I could count, but somewhere between 20 and 30 churches I know we have worked on, some of them one-day projects, some of them extended projects. But it's an honor to be able to come help and work on these churches.
Awesome. Well, Kevin, so I mentioned how Rob and William and myself, we're from Arkansas. How did you get connected to this?
Well, again, like I said, I met Steve and Vernon back in 2011 or 12 or 10, around that time. We were struggling with our building. We had purchased a building, and the people we bought the building from took the funds and left us with just a slab. Well, went to prayer, the church went to prayer, we all went to prayer. About a year later, or 2 years later, Steve Osage came with his brother John Osage and their wives, and visited us and saw what we're doing here and the struggles, the challenges that we're facing. And they claimed that, they were sent, and explained to them the whole story, and that's when we all connected. And since that day, they've been coming every year to help us build and to establish, and also to support us spiritually in presenting the gospel to the people in our area, among our people. And very thankful for that, knowing that there is support. I don't feel that I'm alone. I feel there's a team of people, God's people, standing with me, gives me the strength every day to get up and to share the gospel with my people out here. And name came around with them as well, and now they continued with us. And every year it continued. Now we've gone this far, helping us with the gifts also for Christmas to our public schools that we deliver. And very thankful for that. And the children are very thankful for that. And they get all excited because it comes with the gospel of Jesus Christ as well. So they may not hear of the gospel, and that may be the best time and the only time that they will hear of Jesus Christ. And we're thankful that we have that opportunity to do that through these gifts as well. And very thankful for the team.
Amen. Well, William, so it sounds like Steve has been the one that's connected all of us.
Yeah, so Steve Osage, when I met him in 2009, he was the guy that if he called, you said yes. You know those guys, he was the connector of the team. He was the one, and he wasn't only calling you and saying, hey, Kevin, we've got this project out here that we need to work on. No, he was calling, Kevin, how you doing? Mm-hmm. Just periodically faithfully to call and just check on everybody. And then in the conversation, through the conversations over weeks, he may say, hey, we've got a project we're working on or that's coming up in Nashidi, and we need to come up there and do this project. Or we've got one in Lower Brule, we need to go do that project, and I need an electrician, I need a plumber, I need this, and whoever he's calling, he knows they're that person, and we just didn't say no. You just said yes to him. Then Vernon Crow was able to put the team together once they got on site. He was the guy that had the plan, whether it was here or written. He had the plan. He had all the materials arrived there. They were there on site by the time we arrived, or had them staged to come in as we needed them. And he was the go-to guy. Everything happened through what he said. There was no question. If what you was going to do, just ask Vernon. He'd tell you this is where it's going to go. This is where it's going to go. And nobody bothered him with that. Everybody just accepted that. He was the leader. He was the one guiding the project, and we just did it. And that's a challenge for us today, because now we have no Steve and we have no Vernon. We lost both of them, I think, the same year or close to the same, within a year of each other. Steve planned the last mission trip while taking chemo, and he was a part of building 28 churches in his lifetime and never drove a nail. He wasn't the guy that could actually build a church, but he was the guy that could build the team that could build the church, and whether that team was evangelistic or spiritual or pastor that was sitting there, or it was the team that come in to build the construction. I've always loved this opportunity to do mission work this way. I love the fact that it's simple, that it's just a simple process. There's not a lot of paperwork or a lot of detail work or things like that. It's just, hey, here's the job we got to do, and we show up as a team and we do the job. That is such a blessing. I am extremely blessed every time I'm here with my brother Kevin. He is such a blessing to me in my ministry and in my life, and just to be around him and his family. Just dearly love them and care about them. And when we came, the group that I am with, that traveled with me, he gave up his house for us, and we're in his house. We took over his house. And no, come and took over your church. We took over your house. But that's the kind of thing. Especially this trip. This trip for me is reunion. It is the biggest family trip. I always love this trip here that we come together, and always through all the ones I've ever been on. Not always VBS, but pretty much always VBS was in there, and always revival at night. Always revival. We always had revival, and it was maybe it was spur of the moment. You're preaching tomorrow night, or maybe it was planned. This, when working with Rob, it's planned and it's good. We got to know. We know what you don't come up to you and say, hey, I need to preach here in about an hour. But when we get to hear each other and be with each other and spend time together. I just really love it. I've always have loved it, and wherever it's at, whether it's Oklahoma, whether it's here, just to come out and help churches and work with churches and work with church with the people in the church and accomplish the goals that God set forth for us and for the person there. I always come away blessed. I have never went on a trip like this or been a part of a trip like this that I wasn't blessed. I always come out that way. I go with the hope I help somebody else, but I always get a blessing out of it every time. And David Byford and my church, he's much more involved than me all along with Builders for Christ. I have really, since I've been at Winfield in 2014, I met Steve in 2009, does mission work with him, and still mission work in between. In 2014, I became pastor at Winfield Baptist Church and got more involved because David was really connected to Steve, and he connected our church and our missions there. And so that's how I really got more involved with it. And just all of it together, and just the things that we find. I was on a mission trip in Y Mountain, Arkansas. I was under great conviction, had no idea what I was under conviction for. It was to be a pastor, but I was under great conviction for it. And the pastor there, Brother Eddie Combs, we're building a baptistry. I'm looking at the baptistry. I'm thinking about the day that's coming ahead of us early in the morning. He comes up behind me, he puts his arm around me, and he says, Will, he said, I'm not a prophet, I'm not a son of a prophet, but you're going to be a pastor. He turns and walks away, didn't let me answer anymore, you know. And so from that point, that was in 2012. From there to 2014, there was a lot of conversations between me and the Lord. But a lot of things happened. And so one of the things that I wanted to make sure that is clear is it doesn't matter what you're capable of doing, you can be utilized on mission. I mean, if you can cook, if you can paint a wall, if you can fix a car, you know, if you can teach a kid, if you can play a game with the kids, you know, I mean, there's not anything that can't be used in mission for the Lord, and no matter where it's at. And so if you've been on the fence or you've been sitting in your chair and you've been thinking, man, I would like to do something like that. I would like to go and be a part of something like that, but I have no talent. Oh, yes, you do. You have a talent and it can be used. And if it is the talent of sitting beside someone and visiting with them or praying with them or praying beside while somebody else is knocking on the door and passing out a flyer or sharing the gospel, hey, that's valuable. That's very valuable, and we need you.
Let's continue with that thought a little bit. I'm going to ask maybe for some specifics now, because we can say all the time, hey, we can always use more people.
Right.
What are some specific ways that someone else could get involved or could help us out? What are some specific ways they can help?
What I always think about in Acts 1:8, it tells us to go out. It says start in Jerusalem, to go to Samaria, or go to Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, and the outermost parts of the world. So often we think of missions, we've got to spend $2,000 to fly down to Africa to work on a church. When I first was called in ministry, I was thinking I was going to be a missionary, and where was I going to go? I think one of the greatest things about what we get to do is stay right here in our own country. Yes, it took us a few hours to get here, but we're able to come here and share, build relationships that come back year after year. If you or someone in your church feels like you're being called into missions, feel like you want to get involved, I can't think of a better way than team up with us. We always have more projects than we have people. We always have churches that we need to go paint, churches we need to go hang a door, churches where we need to go have a revival. We would love for you to come. And if you have someone that's thinking about being a missionary internationally, let them come do a 1-week trip with us, get their feet wet without spending thousands of dollars to go around the world somewhere. Come spend time with us. We'll encourage them, we'll help them, but they will come back blessed with a clearer vision of what God is calling them to do. Real quickly, I mentioned shoe boxes earlier. So often we in America, I look at a Samaritan's Purse or one of our shoe boxes, and it looks like what my kids would have got in a stocking stuffer. About 3 years ago, I got a letter from a lady up in South Dakota. She said, I got your name of your church. I wanted to thank you for the shoe boxes you gave my grandkids this year. My husband and I are raising 3 of our grandchildren, and we were having a rough year. We weren't going to be able to have Christmas. And they came home from school with these shoe boxes, and you made their Christmas. Back on November 1st, our great-grandchild had been murdered violently, and we had no energy or money to provide Christmas. And you shared God's love with our kids, and we'll always be thankful. So I encourage you to never think, well, I can't do much. Will was talking about you can come sit and pray with someone. Same thing on the shoe boxes. You might think you can't do much. We pray over every shoebox we send out that it'll get to the right person and that it'll be packed for exactly what they need. I will encourage you, whether you help with one shoebox, from help on a 1-day project, or jump in feet first and get involved, reach out to us. We would love to have your help.
I have to say that anything that God lays on your heart, and you acknowledge that and pray about it, and God will lead you to help the ministry in any ways that you can, by prayer, by word of encouragement, any ways that you can support is very grateful with the people out here on the Navajo Reservation, whether it's a toothpaste, a toothbrush, a washcloth, something. These are some of the things that some families are taking care of, especially their grandparents, of their grandchildren, and they don't have the funds because of the lack of income in their household. And when they receive this, it is they appreciate that, and it's very important to them that this has come and fallen into their lap, and they didn't have to do very much for it or pay for it, but it's there for them. And it is through the people that love Jesus Christ. So when they go home and their comments are, this is what I received from the people of Jesus. And that comment really does touch people's heart, especially with us. And we're thankful for that. So in any ways that you can help to support the ministry is very gratefully appreciated.
One of the things that we've been a part of the Shoebox Ministry for many years, and through our association, we do it. And one of the things that's always been a blessing in the Shoebox Ministry, I think, it not only in the blessing of where they go, but in the blessing that you provide the shoebox and the transportation to get it to the location it's going is no cost to you. You know, Rob's group hauls a bunch up, our group hauls a bunch up, and we get them to the locations where they go. We're Samaritans First, and I love Samaritans First, but there's a cost on top of what you put in there. And for this, that cost is absorbed inside of our groups, our churches, and our associations, to get it there. So it's always been a great thing to me. And I always encourage people, if you're going to do one or the other, why not do this one? Because it's cost effective and it goes to a great place that need a great need. I've always been just so appreciative of Brother Kevin and the group up here for allowing us to be here. For allowing us to be here and to be on their location here in their church and in their community, and just to be a part of their lives and to help accomplish something that needs to be done, to accomplish the things that need to be done that God has designed and guided each one of us for. And again, if you've got something that you do, we've seen a lot this week. We've seen automotive work done. We've seen electrical work done. We've seen flooring done. We're going to see sheetrock done, all kinds of things this week. And one of the comments that Chris Little made from Lower Brule one time, before he was pastor up there, we were working on a church, and it may have been here. And he said, when he first got involved, he was younger, and he said, it's like trade school. If you want to learn how to do plumbing, hang with the plumbers. You want to do electrical, hang with electricians. You want to do sheetrock, hang with the sheetrockers, and so that's a good thing too. And one of the other things that's blessing for our church has been in the past you can take someone on a construction mission trip that doesn't know the Lord. If you're going on an evangelistic mission trip, they need to know Jesus, because you're going to be telling people about Jesus. If you're going on a construction mission trip and it's going to take you 16 hours to get there and 16 hours to get home, and you've got a whole lot of time to spend with that person and talk to them about Jesus, talk to them while you're hanging sheetrock or whatever you're putting in. And we have had team members going with us come to know the Lord,
Amen.
And so that's one of the things that's always been a blessing as well to me, in that you put somebody in a different position that they've ever been, and you've got time to talk to them about Jesus that you might not have had before, and so it just opens some doors. And you talked about international. Hey, we're in a new nation. We're coming to a nation. Navajo is a nation, and they've allowed us to come in.
I like that they allow us to come here and have our reunion.
I know, right? Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. Kevin allows us to come here and we get to enjoy each other together. And it is that way. The teams that are from multiple churches, multiple locations, and we all show up on a project, and some of us maybe see, but maybe once or twice a year, or maybe every couple of years or 5 years, and it's just like a reunion. It's just like a reunion. And I always enjoy it.
Well, do y'all have any final thoughts that you want to leave them with?
There will be contact information when we get done here with phone numbers, emails. If you have any questions about anything we're doing, you can reach out to any of the three of us. We would love to get you involved, but if you can't do anything else, please keep us in prayer, especially Brother Kevin here. We love this man and the work he's doing, and he would love to have your prayers. If you can't come with us, pray.
Thank you for this time listening to us, and I appreciate that. It's very, the need is there. Prayer is very important, and as we unite, we can build the kingdom of God.
Well, I'll tell you what, again, if you're sitting at home or you're sitting on your pew in your church and you see this video and you said, man, I've always wanted to do something for the Lord, reach out. We'll help you plug you in.
And well, thank you for your time. Thank you for your support. And thank you for your prayers. And God bless you.